Episode 5, Daima Goku's Super Saiyan debut, Yuya Takahashi is back, and besides that, there's kind of nothing in this episode to talk about. Now, the main highlight was, of course, Goku fighting the guards. One thing I will say that's been consistent about Daima's visuals so far is it regularly has well choreographed action. It isn't 90% looping or just still frames with camera shake, so that is nice. And in this case, there's a good mix of attacks. You got headbutts, head stomps, Goku breakdancing. The enemy's weapons are well utilized with how Goku uses a spear at one point to swing off. But the most noteworthy bit is by a Wit Studio staff member, and a really new one. Of course, Wit is famously known for Attack on Titan and, with more recent stuff, Ranking of Kings and Spy Family. But for Daima, Toei has outsourced a bit of animation work to them, as well as for the last episode. And I absolutely love Kozue's style. It's no secret I'm a big fan of Yoshinori Kanada inspired animation, which of course Kozue is a fan of, legit has him in her bio. And I really think a lot of fans don't realize how much of Kanada's influence can be found throughout the work of Dragon Ball Z's top action animators, like Keisuke Masunaga, Masaki Iwane, Kazuya Hisada, Naoki Tate, Masahiro Shimanuki, the list goes on. And I have discussed that before, like in the Naruto vs Dragon Ball animation video, and ironically enough, I only just brought up Kanada in the last one, because even now his influence still lives on through newer Dragon Ball animators like Shuichiro Manabe. And well, Kozue is another one. You can see it firstly in the big speed lines used to emphasize just about every action made, again not too different to Kazuya Hisada and Manabe last week, especially in how they're drawn widely apart. That's a pretty common Kanada skill thing. Although Kozue uses them probably even more than both Hisada and Manabe. There's also the wide spacing between drawings with characters snapping from key pose to key pose, sometimes removing the need for in-betweens entirely. Also, another particular trademark of Kanada's style was how he utilized timing and the often irregular rhythm he set it at, which is definitely present here. We have Goku's movement timed on 1s, 2s, 4s, then back to 2s and 4s and 3s, it just goes up and down a lot. Again, flicking back to say Gasha and Cockpit's work, it was a core component of their approach back on Z. Although in their case, they would often work on lower frame rates, but that's also a feature of Kanada's work that did change with time. Like if you flick back to his animation in the 70s, you can see stuff timed out like that, but then fast forward to the 90s and 2000s, he starts moving to higher frame rates. So personally, I think Kozue is probably drawing inspiration more from Kanada's later work. With smears, it's not too different either. A lot of modern animators often smear the outer edge of something with, small wobbly lines, like Otsuka actually last week. Kozue, on the other hand, draws these big shapes trailing behind. There's also other classic techniques like the Kanada bounce, where a character falls down, usually a profile shot, bounces up in the air, then snaps back down with speed lines applied. Overall, the main purpose behind all these little techniques is to bring intensity to every action and weight to characters' bodies, which Kozue definitely achieves. But yeah, it's kind of interesting looking at her past work because there aren't really many Kanada-isms to be found, so I'm very curious as to what direction she's probably going to take for her future work. However, what's I think very much her own thing is how she applies deformation to characters, which gives a more looser feel to bodies. The character art is also pretty unique. For some reason, the first thing that came to my head was that Kid Goku drawing Keisuke Masunaga did for a flashback scene in Z. Maybe it's the face shape or the more sharper line work. Either way, I'm just happy that the majority of her art was untouched by Takahashi. And Daima has been a pretty on-model show so far, so it is fun to see someone break away from the model sheets once in a while. But besides that, there really ain't much else to say about the visual side. It's another polished episode, mostly. Takahashi sticks to the character sheets, and that's it. Although near the end, it seems he left a lot of stuff untouched, so I'm guessing this is the animation director Naoki Murakami style, maybe? It kind of sticks a bit out to Takahashi's work. But yeah, there just ain't much to say about this one, and that is definitely in part to the storyboarding and direction. In regards to the latter, Yuichi Suzuki is just average, in terms of visual presentation that is. He pulls out some atmospheric lighting for when Gomar is checking in on Dende, and the King having his 1v1 golf tournament. That's beautiful. The glowing blue and dark shadows create strong contrast, and there's purple smoke for the mini explosion. It's really eye-catching stuff. But that's kind of all there is. Well, there is this cartoony bit where they play around with the designs a bit, a nice comedic touch, but yeah, there's just generally nothing that stands out about him, at least to me. but someone who really embodies that last sentence to the fullest extent possible is good old Yoshitaka Yashima. He has storyboarded 5 episodes in a row at this point, and I think the simplest way I can put it is he's hit or miss. First episode was good, and then second it was like, yeah, I don't know. Then third, hey, maybe he's not that bad. Then fourth, I was like, what the heck, this is actually pretty nice. Did I underestimate him? And then episode 5 rolls around and it's like, yeah, no, he's kinda average. Like it's been said before, Yashima is just very basic in how he presents things. Like, take this entrance to the castle. This is a structure you really want to show the scale of, but flat shots like this ain't a way to do it. You know, I flicked over recently to Soul Eater last week to do an animation breakdown, and all of a sudden I'm like hit in the face with interesting angles and presentation. It was a breath of fresh air. Like, this stuff really does go a long way. And the thing is, unlike Tadayoshi Yamamura, who got raked over the coals for his bland storyboarding in Resurrection F, at least in his case, he had like 1 storyboarding credit before this. Like, he was not experienced in this role at all, whereas Yashima has been doing this since 2007, regularly, and you wouldn't be able to tell. Now next week he isn't storyboarding, which in all seriousness is good for his own health, honestly. Storyboarding 5 episodes back to back by yourself takes a lot of hard work, and the guy is 71. I'm interested as to if he'll do any animation work later on Daima. After all, that's kind of what he's more well known for. But with that, that's all I had to say. This was a pretty ordinary episode visually, so, you know, there wasn't a lot to break down. Although it does seem next week there's going to be a fair bit to talk about. But with that, thank you for watching, and check out the sponsor, TT Aesthetic, for Dragon Ball swag. Link will be in the description and pinned comment. And make sure to use code Forgotten Relics for 10% off. But with that, thanks again, and I'll see you later.